Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Ducks on 503, talking all things Oregon football. If you're not following, if you're not subscribed already, go and smash those buttons below to join the Ducks Zone family where we're always talking Oregon football. Really appreciate everybody who's been liking and subscribed at Ducks on 503. You guys got to be following the social media. Look right here, guys, for the YouTube people. We got everybody locked in on the IG Live. As you know, if you're following on at Ducks on 503 on the IG Live, you guys know what it is, man. I have you guys locked in with me live as I shoot the episode. So we're here to talk about the big time game that just went down. Date of the recording is December 29th. It is 8:46 a.m. Last night we had Oregon, the Oregon Ducks, number 15 in the country, win against North Carolina in an instant classic holiday bowl game. They won 28-27 over the Tar Heels. It's kind of funny, actually, because the last bowl game the Ducks won was against Wisconsin, the Rose Bowl in 2019, and that game was a 28-27 victory. So good to get back on the winning side of things as a Duck fan. As you know, Oregon came into this game as a 13.5-point favorite, big time favorite coming into the game. Everyone was talking about Bo Nix versus Drake May, about the big offense, really ranking down these defenses, when in fact, it was a much more defensive game than a lot of people expected. Plus, you had quarterbacks that had their moments, but certainly they did not dominate this game like everybody thought they were just going to be slinging it around for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, right? That's kind of what people were thinking here. And it didn't really turn out that way. I mean, you had a lot of opt-outs, that, of course, on both sides, on defense especially. And through the year, both defenses were not that great. So, of course, a lot of people were taking the over when it came to betting, and just comes to say, man, like when you got the media, you got everybody doubting. These kids want to play, man, and they hear that. They hear the noise, and they came out to play. A lot of guys proved their worth as well. Oregon's run game dominated early with Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving had a big day. The Duck offense, started out really fast, but they kind of stalled out in the middle of the game. May starts heating up, making some really good throws across the field. Ducks can't really stop it. North Carolina ties it up, and it's tied 14-14 at this moment. Then, all of a sudden, right before halftime, North Carolina defense makes a Sports Center top 10 play. I'm talking one of the most craziest interceptions I've ever seen, where the guy is running across the field. He kicks the ball up with his heel, and North Carolina gets an interception right before halftime. They're able to score in one play right after that, going up 21-14 at the half. Things were not looking good for Oregon. Both teams come out flat in the third quarter. Both defenses really step up in that third quarter. Really impressive 0-0 third quarter. I mean, who would have thought that there was going to be a scoreless quarter in this game before the game started, right? Well, it happened. But in the fourth quarter, when that came around, that's when the fireworks just went off in this game. It looked at as one point in the fourth quarter that North Carolina had a steady hold on this game. They were up 10, 24-14 at one point. But, Bo Nix, was kind of cold during this game. A lot of people questioning his health and how healthy he really was for this game. But really stepped up when it mattered most. And we've seen it ever since he started career against Oregon, right? 2019. Kind of struggling, throws 2 early picks against Oregon early in his career. What happens? He goes ahead and throws the game-winning throw. In this bowl game, he's kind of struggling, under 100 yards, under 200 yards passing in the fourth quarter. What does he do? He goes and throws 2 late touchdowns to put the Ducks up, and they escape with a narrow victory. Bo Nix is he's a winner. He's a contender, and he'll go the distance for you. Man, you could tell he, of course, wasn't 100% healthy, but man, the way he battled, the way he's coming back for his team, and you could tell with this whole Duck team and the way the leader he is for this team and the way he wants to battle for his guys, it really, the Ducks put emotion into this game. I mean, against Oklahoma, Iowa State over the last 2 years in the Cristobal era and the last bowl games, you can really tell that the team just didn't want to be there. The team was unmotivated. They didn't have that leader to really go to battle with. And having Bo Nix, knowing he's coming back for another year, knowing he's your guy, and seeing that the passion that he brings to the game, it really fires you up and makes you want to win this bowl game. And I think the Oregon team did want to win this bowl game. For Dan Lanning to get his 10th win is big time. Troy Franklin, He gets a big time catch on third down, on a big touchdown catch on third down. Chase Coda, that fourth down catch. We got to talk about Chase Coda. How special is it for Chase Coda to go out like that with a game winning catch? Born here in Oregon, dad played for the Ducks, big time player. Chad Coda played in the NFL. Chase Coda, you couldn't have written up any better. I mean, he went to UCLA early in his career. At that time when he was getting recruited, I mean, the Ducks coaching staff was like a revolving door. Not much stability here. While he watched Chip Kelly growing up, Chip Kelly's at UCLA. He went to UCLA for a little bit, and he could have had his whole Duck career here if the Ducks had a coach that was solid here. But given the circumstances, he went to UCLA and finished his career out here. And what a way to end it, man. The game-winning catch. And, man, Chase Coda grew up watching the Ducks, grew up a Ducks fan. His dad was a Duck. And to him to end his career like that is just really something special to watch, man. Really something special. To ice it, Camden Lewis, man, they've got to talk about that kick, right? Barely makes that PAT. It bounces off the goalpost right in. And I thought he missed it. I was screaming at the top of my lungs for a second. And it's kind of weird to see Camden Lewis struggle in this game because Lewis, was actually really pretty reliable throughout the season. So to see him miss a field goal that was, that he could probably made and, almost missed that 1-point conversion to win the game. Pretty scary stuff. But overall, Ducks win 28-27. There's your quick recap of the game there. Overall, you got to talk about the tremendous second half of the Ducks defense. Okay, the Ducks defense the whole year, I've said it, they have not played well. Okay, just to put it, truthfully, they have not played well all season. Well, in the first half, they did kind of struggle letting May heat up, just making throws. But in that second half, they only allowed 6 points, 120 total yards, and North Carolina was 2 of 7 on third down. So that was big time. And not having your top guys on defense, big second half for the Ducks. And that's what got them over the hump in this comeback win. Let's do a quick stat recap of the game. So everybody was talking about the big time matchup, Bo Nix versus Drake May. These are two guys that are going to be Heisman contenders in the 2024 draft. May could very well be the number 1 pick next year. Let's see how they turned out. So Bo Nix finished with 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Nix had a really slow game through 3 quarters. In that fourth quarter, really stepped it up when the team needed him most and throws 2 late touchdowns and really padded up his stats really nice. Drake May, 206 yards. So he finished with just 1 yard over Bo Nix, had 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So had a really nice game for Drake May, but did not dominate the way that these quarterbacks were kind of expected to do. Bo Nix, Drake May, I thought these guys were going to light it up against these, kind of, secondaries that aren't that deep and playing young guys. And it just, the defense really stepped it up. Good thing for Oregon in this game, they outrushed North Carolina on the ground. Oregon had 209 rushing yards. North Carolina only had 116 yards rushing. Bucky Irving finished with 13 carries, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. MVP of the Holiday Bowl there. Shout out Bucky Irving. Before this game, I always said the run game is where the Ducks would have the advantage in the shootout, high scoring type game. Okay. The having a run game in this type of shootout game and being the more balanced team, I thought would get the Ducks over the hump. And it certainly did help. Nix being a good quarterback is nice and all, but trying to outsling Drake May is probably not the best game plan. The Ducks did go to the run game, especially early, and had success. North Carolina adjusted, did make it tough on the Ducks to run the ball in that second half, but the Ducks hang in there. Bo Nix steps up, and they get the win. Okay? Everyone was looking forward to the offensive battle. Oregon finished with 414 yards of total offense. North Carolina, 322 yards of total offense. So big time for both the offense and defense, man. The defense holding North Carolina 322 total yards with the attrition that we had on defense, man. Big time. Congrats for the defense, for the Ducks. Credit to the North Carolina's defense as well. I mean, this was not a runaway for the Ducks, holding the Ducks to only 28 points under their average on total yards offense. I mean, really, really tremendous. Got to give it up for those guys on both sides of the ball, North Carolina and the Ducks. Those kids really battled it out. You had the media, you had guys like me, you had fans just expecting all out fireworks. And when you're a defensive player on those teams, that's got to fire you up. And you've seen it on the field. It certainly did. And this whole thing of bowl games don't matter, man. I hate that. I'm 23 years old. I'm a young fan. I like to see the playoff expand. I love it, but I don't think that should just mean get rid of bowl games, man. I love seeing the Holiday Bowl. I love seeing smaller schools get their opportunity to finish their season on a high note and win a championship. I mean, if it's just 12-team playoff and that's it, and we get rid of bowl games, there's 100+ teams who aren't going to get that opportunity. Mac Brown said it. I suggest you guys go watch their interviews before the game. They had some good interviews, Dan Lanning and Mac Brown. But Mac Brown, North Carolina coach, said it best, man. I mean, there's going to be a lot of kids that don't get an opportunity to really finish their season on a high note. And I think that's what these bowl game opportunities provide for these kids is, you might not win your conference. No, you might not win every game on your schedule, but you can still finish with a trophy and bring it to your school and have these memories that stick around forever. Final thoughts on this game, the Holiday Bowl. This is the very first matchup between these two programs in football, and it goes down as an instant classic. Oregon finishes its season 10-3. Dan Lanning is the 5th Oregon coach to win 10 games since 2005. He joins Mike Bellotti, Chip Kelly, Mark Helfrich, and Mario Cristobal in doing so. So big congrats to Dan Lanning. That's a whole lot of winning, by the way, since 2005, let me tell you. Also, great way Chase Coda go out. I touched on it, man, to grow up watching the Ducks. Family played for the Ducks. It's the end of his career. To get that game-winning catch was, of course, something special for him. I bet he's got to hold on to that football forever. Great way to end this season. Great way to wrap it up on a high note. You're midway through the game. It was looking tough. It looks like last year where you might lose 3 out of the last 4, but through the struggles, through it all, Bo Nix, he gets it done. And it's just great to see him end the season with the game-winning pass, and it gets everybody excited for next year. It just gets everybody that much more excited for next year when you see that. It pulled off as what I call some Bo magic, man. Bo Nix is a really clutch player. The guy could just be 80 yards passing in the fourth quarter, really cold, an interception, and he just pulls it out of the hat. 2 touchdowns late. In other news, after the bowl game, linebacker Mace Funa announces he will return for the 2023 season. Big time return for the Ducks on the edge position. Keeping experienced linebackers always huge. You got leadership there for these young linebackers next year. Funa can help Mateo Uiagalelei develop. Keith Brown played really well today. Devin Jackson, Harrison Taggart, some guys from this last class that I'm really looking forward to playing next year. It's going to be fun. And having a guy like Mace Funa there to lead and help develop those guys that are going to be playing some big roles next year is going to be fun to see. Another news, defensive lineman Taki Tiamani also announced he's going to return for the 2023 season. Jordan Riley, the Nebraska transfer this season, played in that nose tackle position up front on the D-line. He started all 13 games. Taki Tiamani was the backup. Taki will return. Jordan Riley's out of eligibility, so he's done as a Duck. So good opportunity for Taki to return. Popo Amave, we're still waiting on a clearance for him. He was injured all year, so he's trying to get a medical red shirt for this year to come back next year. So Taki, Popo, I think you might add in the transfer portal to that defensive nose tackle position as well for more depth. Still waiting on a Brandon Dorless decision. He played well in this game. He played in this game. I'm not sure why you would play in this game if you were planning to go to the NFL. Same thing with Bo Nix. So we're still waiting on an official decision on that. And then, of course, last but not least, you had this really cool picture of Justin Herbert and Bo Nix. Look at that. Justin Herbert and Bo Nix. These two played in 2019. Everybody remembers that Auburn versus Oregon matchup. I know Duck fans don't want to really remember that, but it's cool to see, man. And just imagine if you've seen this picture in 2019, if some dude from the future came and showed you this picture. It'd be kind of wild for Auburn and Duck fans together, right? All right, guys. Well, that wraps up this recap and analysis. Ducks get it done in the 2022 Holiday Bowl, capping off their 10-win season in the first year of the Lanning era. Man, what a game. 28-27 win over the North Carolina Tar Heels in our first ever football matchup ever. So, man, big time win. As always, guys, go Ducks. Really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Subscribe, like, and guys, if you guys got Duck fans, okay, if you go to the college and I know you got friends all around, tell them about the Ducks on 503 podcast, okay? The podcast grows with the likes and subscribes. I get it. It helps with the algorithm, but the best thing to grow a podcast is word of mouth and telling your friends. So make sure to tell a friend about the Ducks on 503 podcast. As always, guys, go Ducks. I'll see you in the next one.